Everyone, welcome to the podcast. We have a great show for you today. We have Brianna Standridge, who's the CEO and owner of Cakes by Brianna. You've probably seen her Instagram. She has lots of followers there. She brought some special things into the studio and talked about what it's like owning your own business and being in the custom cake industry. She's won some awards, and we hope you enjoy. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Here for the Health of It podcast. We are Columbia's hottest and fastest growing podcast. I'm Dr. Randy here with Dr. Tom, as always. And when we first started this show, one of our goals was to meet the interesting people in Columbia. We kept finding that we had all these interesting contacts and people in Columbia that we wanted to get to know, or we would have conversations. And we always thought, I wish somebody could hear that, or I wish somebody knew this person. And we started a podcast, and here we are. So we have a great guest for you today. We have, and how do I say your last name? We have Brianna Standridge.
Standridge, yeah.
Standridge.
Yeah, you're good, yeah.
And you make cakes. Yeah. That's your passion.
I make cakes. I make a lot of cakes.
And so it's called Cakes by Brianna. That's your
Very
company.
original.
Yes. And you make it sounds like it's all custom cakes.
Yeah, I mostly
dessert.
mostly cakes. I get a lot of people ask if I do those decorated cookies. Those are a totally different skill set. So I really just kind of tailored what I like and what I feel like I'm skilled at, and have really just focused on custom cakes, and then cakes by the slice. I like to feature some, I guess, more interesting flavors. Like I think because that's funfetti. Which is a favorite. So I make so much funfetti, and no one ever orders anything exciting. So I had to start these so people could try some more. But that's a classic. You can't go wrong.
What are some exciting cakes? Like, what would be some flavors that we just don't know about, or that you'd like to really get out there?
Yeah. So I can't say any of my recipes are my own. It's been just a lot of years of trial and error, experimenting with things that I found on Pinterest. But what I've loved lately are cakes with a crust. So think
Crusty cakes?
Yeah. So think like graham cracker crust.
Oh.
So you bake your crust in your pan, and instead of putting a cheesecake or key lime pie on it, you bake your cake on the crust. And so you get this crunchy element. Like you could make it pretzels.
Like a pie cake.
Sort of. Yeah. Wow. So it's just a little something different. So I've done that in like a key lime flavor, in a s'mores type flavor. If I were to have a slice, I love a peanut butter and chocolate. So I do a chocolate peanut butter marble cake. But a lot of people, do y'all like chocolate? A lot of people don't like chocolate.
I think that's the go-to flavor. What's the most common flavor?
No, like funfetti or vanilla. People are very much about like.
I'd be a vanilla guy for sure.
Yeah. Pleasing a crowd. I mean, which is fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm always surprised. There's a lot of people who say, they're ordering it for someone else. They'll say, they don't like chocolate.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I love the idea of getting back to like handmade food in general. Because I think back in the day, it used to always be everyone made their own cakes. Everybody made everything from scratch. And then we've swung to this really far end where now most people just go to the store and buy something that's loaded with chemicals and preservatives or whatever. It's made in a big factory. They don't really care, you know?
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's swinging back the other end where everybody's understanding, hey, chemicals that make a cake last for 7 months probably aren't good for you. Maybe you should swing back the other way. So are you finding that there's a kind of a health side of it? And I know we kind of talk, it's not like health driven, but it's going to be better eating a cake that someone made than something bought from the store.
Sure. Yeah. I think I do see that a lot. On our side of Irma, we don't have a ton of bakeries, but I can hear my mom's voice in my head growing up. Like she baked a lot from scratch, and it obviously wasn't all healthy. I'm not trying to say sugar and sweets are healthy, but she never bought the prepackaged snacks. And I can always hear her saying, like, it's better than a ding dong or this or that,
Right.
like you said, that could sit on the shelf for for a very long time. So I do think there's something special about a fresh made cake, the shelf life of that. I normally would say eat it or freeze it within 3 days. It freezes great. Once in a while, I'll have someone inquire, can you make something without food dyes? So there are natural ways to do that. That's really the one, I guess, chemical that,
Yeah,
to
the
get
food
certain
dyes.
certain effects is just you have to use that. But I do use, really high quality ones. But at the end of the day, sometimes it comes down to finances. But if you're looking for a cake for something special, there's just nothing like one that might remind you of when you grew up, a flavor that your mom made or that your grandma made, or kind of nostalgic almost.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Columbia Family Chiropractic, with 3 easy-to-get-to locations, one in Forest Acres, which is by Trader Joe's, one in O'Neill Court by the DMV, and one in the Northeast by Sand Hills. You'll be sure to have somewhere near you. They offer a ton of services from corrective care, on-site digital x-rays, spinal decompression for bulging or herniated discs, dry needling for injuries, pediatric care, and a Class 4 laser. They accept all your major insurances. And if you mention this ad, you'll get a discount on your first appointment. Check out their website at cfc4health.com or Google Columbia Family Chiropractic. That's cfc4health.com.
Than a homemade cake.
Yeah.
Because I hear a lot of people say, I don't like cake. And sometimes I wonder, maybe they've never had a piece of good
don't know.
cake. Ever.
Yeah.
Maybe they've never had
For
a piece
sure.
of homemade cake.
Right. How many cakes are you ripping a week? How many are you producing?
I do normally about 6 to 8. So I work under the South Carolina's cottage law. So as a home retail bakery, and I have 3 kids. So really it's offered a lot of flexibility because I can take on as much or as little as I am able to in a given week. And most of the cakes I do, I would say, are smaller, like 1 or 2 tier cakes. I haven't delved a ton into weddings with them being younger, but there's always demand for those. And I haven't really gotten into doing like Soda City or those types of markets where I would bring out more just baked goods to sell. I've really just focused on the custom cakes, and people are always just, I feel like, always looking for something unique and different that, like you said, that they can't necessarily get.
There's
at
always an
Publix or
occasion for
anywhere,
cake.
So
So do you want to do more than that? Like, do you ever see yourself wanting to do, like, I don't even know how it's possible, multi-oven, 15, 20 cakes a week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You
I
do
mean,
wanna-
I definitely have dreams to do that someday. Our kids are 5, 7, and 9. So our youngest has one more year before she'll be in all day school. So the idea of that feels,
It's nice.
kind of exciting. But I think with, if you're going to grow, you have to be willing to hire someone. So that's something that
So you're doing
I
it
have
all
to
yourself?
be, that I have to be willing
Yeah.
to do and let go. And I'm not sure. That definitely would be a dream of mine in the next few years, just to say that I've done it. My husband, like, in my mind, I want to wait till our kids are all grown and like off at college, but he's like, well, then we're going to want to travel and do other things, and you're not going to want to be tied down to that. So I do love the idea. We have, so the older 2 are boys and the youngest is a girl. I love the idea of just being able to show her you can be a mom and a business owner and do something that you love, that's a blessing to others and that you enjoy, that you can do both of those at the same time. I'd love to be able to set that example. She's actually like the way cooler one of us. I don't know if you've ever seen any of her videos, but most of my Instagram followers, like, I swear they
She's got her
follow
own
because
account?
of her. No, she doesn't, but I share stuff and she's hilarious. She's more engaging than I am. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell, but it's definitely something that I go to bed thinking about.
Yeah.
Like at night, falling asleep, thinking about just different things that could be done, whether it be like cake classes and things around the holidays and themed days where you go all out and theme everything that you're selling that day. So we'll see.
Well, so we always have this dream of
Okay.
people jumping out of cakes for things that we're doing.
Oh,
So we just had one of our people that work for us, Brittany. She just had her
Okay.
5-year anniversary with us,
Oh,
and one of our
nice.
dreams was we wanted her boyfriend to be able to jump out of a cake and surprise her. But even for my birthday, like when my birthday comes around, if you could get someone jumping out of a cake for me,
When's
I
your
would
birthday?
love that. April.
jumping out of a cake. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah, how would we go about? Do you have any ideas how we would go about doing that? Could you do like a thin layer of cake
I was gonna
around
say, I'll be
the
honest.
cardboard?
Yeah, I don't think I would like actually make
that big of
that
it. You
much
couldn't.
cake. Yeah, I think there are definitely ways you could. You know, did you know? So I've entered the fair a few times.
Oh, really?
I didn't this year, but you don't even have to submit your cake. It doesn't have to be real cake. You can decorate like a coffee can. So I'm thinking that, like, except big scale, like
Really?
Like a massive piece
and then
of
just like
cardboard.
and then just
decorate
the
it. Cover it.
just yeah.
Yeah.
Or
There's
I've
got to be
seen.
contraptions out there that you can probably purchase and then cover in cake.
I mean,
I get-
probably I would have to do some
We
research.
could build something.
Yeah.
I've also seen where they cover, you cover like a spherical thing with plastic wrap and a rubber band. So, and then you decorate over that. I'm probably not making sense, but it could be done.
It'd
It
be
could
like
be
the
done with
moon.
some research.
It'd be like jumping out of the moon.
Maybe.
So I do that for Tom's birthday.
Do you have like visions of you wearing something special for this?
Oh, does he ever?
You said you didn't want to go that direction, but you're taking us that direction right away. I think it would have to be, your outfit would have to be specific to the occasion.
Yeah.
I guess so. So you won't be wearing anything.
Just like when he was born.
Just covered in cake,
mean,
jumping out.
Yeah. Then you don't even have to worry about the laundry after. Like it just.
Yeah, and I don't even know how to jump out properly either. Like, because everybody's going to be so excited about the cake, and then all of a sudden you ruin the whole cake. They're going to be sad about it. So your
You need a
entrance
second
has
cake.
you
Yeah.
need another.
You need a
real
second cake. Yeah, I'm thinking just very minimal actual cake. Like you
Yeah.
really could just almost do like a faux cake, like decorate,
Yeah.
like you said, the cardboard and buttercream or something to get the effect
Oh, that's a good
without
idea.
having the waste.
And
See, you know what's funny? Can I share at least the topic that you said? We always ask
Sure.
guests, like, what's off limits? Is there anything off limits? And she said buttholes. Our last couple of clips, and it's like, yeah, how do we ever get to like actually talking about buttholes and stuff like this, where we're talking about Randy jumping out of a cake naked?
right, and
You see
I
how
don't
like
know.
you see how things
and
just
and
get
me
to-
jumping
just
out
happens.
wasn't part of my plan. I just wanted to have other
somebody,
people.
yeah.
But I can.
Oh, you wanted someone to jump out of a cake for you.
I
For
might, yeah,
my
I might be the
birthday.
one jumping
Oh,
out of it.
oh.
Yes, for his.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it would be weird if I surprised myself jumping out of the cake.
Cake's coming out. Where's Randy at? I don't know. Let's do it anyway.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I was.
That would be actually
That would be a
we
big
should-
surprise.
That'd be amazing.
I'm gonna do some research
Yeah.
when I get home.
All right.
I felt
fe-
like I should have come prepared with.
I feel like who
with,
wouldn't like that though, right? What
It's
if
not
for
done
your
enough.
birthday?
It's not done enough. Is kind of where we're at with it.
Yeah.
More people need to be doing it.
You know, when I think a lot goes for cakes, like a lot of people, I think they don't even care how it tastes, or people be like, I'm not even gonna eat it these days. They just want it for the
for the
picture,
look. Yeah.
you know? And so
Yeah.
I think like that's like you're gonna get it
Yeah.
for the picture and the memories and
Yes.
the laughs and the
cover 'em in
and the
frosting.
videos. yeah, covered in frosting.
Yep.
So is that frustrating then when people are like, oh, I want pictures of this?
It's almost like you don't need to spend that much
I
time.
Right. That's what I think.
Just the outside.
Yeah, I have a process for everything. So I feel like every cake I make, you just follow the same process for everyone. So I feel like you're gonna get the quality that you pay for. A lot of times, once it's gone from my house, I'm like, it's out of my
Whatever
hands.
happens.
So
People do weird stuff with
yeah,
it. Maybe.
just
Well,
yeah.
You know what you could do? Maybe like you said, like get some. If people are just doing it for the photo, do the tin can and just decorate it. Maybe that's a little like a quicker. You could get some of
It
those
would
out
be.
there. I like
I
that
don't
idea.
know. I don't know. Would people pay for that?
Probably if they're paying for a full cake just to not eat. And, you know
I mean,
what mean?
I will be honest. Like a lot of people think, like if I order a cake double that size, it's going to cost so much more money.
Right.
But it's not necessarily the case, because a lot of the time
It takes
it's not
the
necessarily
same
the
amount of time.
ingredients. Yes, it's
Right.
not really like the ingredients that you
Yeah.
pay for. I mean, you're paying for everything, that I have to buy to make the cake, but
Right.
it's the communication, and then the baking of the cake part,
Yes.
and then the decorations, whatever I have. I have a ton of supplies that I've invested in, the time to design something. Obviously, if it's a more advanced design than that, there's a lot more that goes into it than
Yeah.
just the cake,
Yeah.
the cake part.
Well, I was wondering that.
But-
How much time does it take if things go perfectly for one cake, probably this size, or like even if you go a little bit bigger, what time commitment are you putting into that?
I normally say like 3 hours per cake, but again, that's more simple. If there's like edible images, or if there's fondant, or
Yes.
you're kind of arranging things, or doing like melting chocolate in a mold for something. It's more of those themed ones that take a lot more time, or tiered cakes, because you structurally
Yes.
you're having to put
Sticks and stuff in there.
Or
dowels,
dowels in
dowels,
there.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Even if it's just like all white, it takes a little bit of extra time to make sure that all is good. But I don't do the social media part actually as much as I'd like to, just because it takes time to set up the camera and show the process and everything. But I've enjoyed kind of learning a little photography and getting decent quality pictures. And so I try to give each client that, with them when they pick up.
What exactly is fondant? Like, what is that? It looks like plastic,
Yeah, it's mostly just sugar.
like rolled out sugar and what? Water?
I'm like embarrassed. I don't actually know, because I actually don't
you
really
buy
use it. You can make it. I don't really do much fondant. So, but
I've never
you
heard
buy
that
it.
word before.
Fondant?
I've never heard that word in my life. I've heard fondue.
So yeah, it's like Play-Doh. It's
Guy doesn't
basically like
watch enough
edible Play-Doh.
Yeah,
But he doesn't watch.
He doesn't watch enough Food Network. I mean, everybody's got to know fondant at this point. Cake shows.
I don't know.
Never heard of it in my life.
Yeah, they wrap it. Yeah, it's like
like a
literally
pretzel.
You can roll it.
No,
Kinda
no,
like a pretzel.
thin Play-Doh, rolled out Play-Doh, like a dough. Think of pizza dough that they then like wrap and like
You smooth the
Smooth it
sides.
out.
You're gonna achieve a smoother finish because
what's this? Is this
That's
fondant?
that's
No,
just
it's buttercream.
it's American buttercream, so it's mostly sugar and
But
and
that's
butter.
really nice. That's
This
smooth.
might be fondant around here.
No, it's
Well,
not.
It's not. It just looks good. Like she did a great job smoothing this, because normally fondant would be the thing that looks super smooth.
So you can cover the cake with it, but then I don't have this skill set, but a lot of people will like you can sculpt out of it. So you
Yeah.
could make
Action
Winnie
figures.
the Pooh. Yeah, you can.
Oh.
Now I'm not like I don't have that skill set to
But it
sculpt
tastes
with it.
terrible.
Yeah, that's what's so funny is that almost anytime anyone inquires about a cake, they have something in mind. They've gone to Pinterest, they've typed in like Elsa cake, frozen cake, and then they like the first one they see and they send it to me, and it's always a fondant cake, always. So you
Right.
see a lot when you'll see a lot, but then they always say, well, okay, sorry. So they'll send that, and I'll respond and say, oh, this cake is so lovely. I'd love to come up with something similar in a buttercream design. I'm thinking this and this and this, and they'll always say, well, yeah, I don't like fondant anyways. So no one likes the taste of it,
No.
but the appearance, you can definitely get a look that you can't with just
They don't even have
frosting.
it in Canada.
I
Canada's
don't even. Yeah, I've never heard that word in my life. But I do like these little balls that are on it.
loves
You
balls.
know-
Guy loves balls.
At all different sizes.
Yeah. Well,
What are
I didn't
those?
even.
What are they?
Yeah,
I didn't even put the biggest ones on. They're still at home.
Why not?
Because they were too big. Yeah, I was back to Canada. So my cake Instagram page I follow, it's mostly all other bakers I follow, and Canada has some amazing cake bakers and content creators,
Oh,
like big time. Like a lot of them are
World
from Canada.
champions.
Yes.
wow.
Really?
We were just wondering the other day. Our friend asked, like, what are Canadians good at besides hockey? and we couldn't think of anything.
There's some really talented.
So maybe baking cake.
Yeah.
I know. Which,
Put it on your list.
and I could see that being the case. Canadian food in general, though, is just not good. Like when we were talking about Canada, when you think of Canadian food, you're not like, oh yeah, I want to go have some Canadian food.
Well, I've never been to Canada. So I grew up in Maine and somehow never made it to Canada in
It feels
22 years. Like, I feel like I'm embarrassed. I feel like I should have made that happen.
Yeah, you were that close.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
We had the
Just
ferry to
not-
Nova Scotia, like right where I lived.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about life. Whenever you have an opportunity to do something, you just have to do it.
Yes.
Everybody thinks that you just have unlimited amount of time, but you just don't.
You
Very
just gotta
true.
do it. That's
We lived
poetic.
in Canada. Yep. When we lived in Canada, there was places that my wife was like, "Oh, I don't, I'm not in the mood today, but I'll go there like next year or something."
Yeah.
Now she'll never make it.
Yep.
It's too late.
You're never gonna go to Canada, is what he's saying.
I mean,
Never.
You missed the
maybe.
opportunity.
Yep.
I don't know.
But I mean, their food is probably like gamey. I picture it like
Okay.
gamey food, like elk and deer and beaver and weird stuff,
Yeah.
right? Raccoon. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Just
It's
Picturing
just
some
foresty.
food poisoning after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, it's not that different. It just doesn't have any of the uniqueness that some countries have. Like when you talk about food from Mexico or Thailand or Vietnam or,
Chinese
I don't know where
food,
else.
Japanese
Italy,
food. Italy, yes.
Greece.
Yep.
It's just you talk about Canadian food, and it's just like they don't really have anything unique.
Like their
other than,
specialty.
Yeah, like maybe
Yeah.
poutine.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've never had that.
Now, see, I don't know what that is.
I'd never had grits or some of those
Even
hush
still?
puppies. No, I'm sorry, I have now, but
Oh,
up
yeah.
until moving
Yeah.
here.
Yes, me
Same.
neither.
Pimento cheese.
Yep.
Same.
So you're from
think what
Maine.
else?
When did you move here?
We moved here in 2014.
What brought you here?
So, my husband's actually from Lexington. I grew up in Maine and then went to school in Massachusetts. And then he had moved up there for a job in New Hampshire. And then we met. He had some extended family down here. And I had always wanted to move away from the cold.
Yes.
So I was thinking
Get
Florida
that.
in my mind. I was like going for Palm Beach.
Yeah.
But then I met my husband and he had family here. And I was like, well, South Carolina, that's close enough. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
the next state. I thought it was going to be 90 degrees here year round. So our first winter when
were
it
a
was
little
like
shocked.
17 degrees. Yes, I was
Yeah.
I was mad. I was like, I shouldn't still need my winter jacket.
Right. But you don't have to scrape
But-
snow, which is nice.
No.
Yeah,
Mostly.
I miss it for my kids because like they just even now snow days are probably different with remote learning
Right.
and computers and everything, but just like
Oh,
waking
man, a
up and
snow
it was
day
like the
great.
phone. It was like the phone
Yes.
chain, and you got the call at like 6 a.m. that there was no school, and just being
Oh.
outdoors in this. It's a really peaceful thing if you don't have to be up and out for work.
Yeah.
Like it's peaceful, and I miss that sometimes. But
It's a good point. That's a good core memory. When I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like just one of the best feelings was that, like when your mom didn't wake you up and you're kind of like, oh my God, it's late. It's like, oh, hey, it's on the news or I
Snow
got the
day.
call. It's a snow day.
yes,
That is
You're
true.
like, oh,
because where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah,
Erie.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really do miss it up there. I hated it here the first year. But Columbia, I mean, it's grown so much too in the past 10 years. There's so
Yes.
much to do. It's a great place to raise a family. We actually just went to our first Carolina game on Saturday.
How cool is
and
that?
like,
An
yes,
excellent game. The Missouri game?
it was. We may have left early. But
No.
well, my husband's a Georgia fan.
Oh,
But we
boy.
went with friends. Anyways, it was such a great time. Just that
Yeah.
feeling, that exhilarating feeling you get in there. And again, Maine, like we don't have football teams up there. We don't
What
have college
is-
football. So it's just so cool. Like I never thought
Right.
I'd be in an SEC like stadium.
What's happening in Maine besides lobsters? It's the only thing I know.
I mean, they
Is
do.
that
They
it?
love their sports.
What do they have?
But, I mean, I'm sorry. They love their sports as in like their local sports.
Oh.
Like like you follow the high school team.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, you've
Just
but
like
they
a-
love you have I mean, they're all big Boston. Like I grew up a huge Patriots fan. So
Oh, right,
Patriots, Red Sox.
Is Maine
You know?
super rich? I always think of everyone from Maine
No.
as rich.
No, now maybe along the coast, but no.
Inland,
I would not say
Inland
so.
Maine is like, what are you doing
It's
here?
yeah. No, a lot of
Where
it's
am I?
very poor,
West
very
Virginia
poor
is the
and
north.
rural. Yeah,
Really?
Yikes.
It's got to be so
but it's
cool.
beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And what about, tell us about your husband.
Sure.
Where
Oh,
does
sorry.
he fall into all this?
I'm sorry. You had asked why we moved here. So we moved. He found a job at VC Summer. He's a Citadel grad with an engineering degree. So he found a job at VC Summer and then worked there for a while. And then they when they closed that the second unit. I don't remember, but anyways, he got let go when they did those massive layoffs. And so at the time, we had actually like signed our life savings away to open a Christian Brothers automotive franchise over in Lexington.
Yeah.
So it's basically automotive service and repair. He had got his MBA and had always wanted to own a business. And so it was winter of 2019, we opened the one in Lexington. And he's great at it. He's much more like math, finance, business savvy.
Yeah.
So I really rely on him a lot for help with certain things. And when it comes to certain decisions, I hate all that stuff. Like I
Yes.
just want to do the creative stuff. And so we're very much the opposite in that way. He doesn't really like the creative marketing, any of that stuff, but he is just very good at business operations and managing people and managing the money. And so anyways, yes, someday he would definitely be a big help to me if I decided to grow at some point.
Yeah.
He would for sure have a hand in it. But he's been great. He's in the National Guard too, so he's gone not a ton, but his schedule is pretty demanding. So
So he probably helps you with the pricing of the cakes too, because when I think of my wife cooking things or doing things, she wants to charge so little.
yeah,
And she's never really done it, but I know her mother was in catering.
okay.
And there's the feeling like, it's, you know what, I'll just put, I love doing this, and you know what, I'll add this and I'll add this, and pretty soon you're 7 hours in, and
$100 ingredients.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you've underestimated exactly how long it was going to take.
For sure.
Yeah. He definitely is a help. He's always been just good at reminding me to, charge what you're worth. I do think there is a little bit of a challenge being in the location we are. We're not a Charlotte or a Charleston. So I try to kind of ride that line. And I have, raised my prices substantially from what I was before. But he's definitely good about helping me like stand firm on what I've said and not go back on things. Or
do you have a formula? Like, when somebody wants a cake, do you kind of go, all right, start this size is this, it's going to take me this many hours, this is the ingredients?
So,
kind of thing?
Yeah. So basically I start everything. Like I have two different menu options. So I have a full, you can do something fully custom. And then this summer I decided to try something new with a semi-custom option. So basically it offers 6 of my most popular cake flavors and then 6 of my most popular cake designs. So I basically pre-designed these 6 cakes. You can pick one of the 6 in that size, which is kind of like the smallest size I make. I mean, I can go smaller, but that size and then a larger size to feed closer to 30 or 40 people. So, and then you can select your colors. So say this is not one of them, but say you wanted that cake, but I want it in red. You can customize your colors. So that really has been almost more profitable for me because they're cakes that I know. I always have the ingredients on hand. They're designs I'm familiar with that I can execute rather quickly. When it comes to something fully custom, yes, I do. I have a base price for that size, and that's just all white. That's what the price starts at. And then depending what we do for accents and additions and how intricate the design gets, then I basically add from there in a quote. So that's been really helpful. I think just to have a base price, so for you to sort of know, you come to my website, you can see this is what the prices start at for these sizes and these options. And he's always like, you shouldn't even put a price, but that's like it's the first thing people ask, you know, and it,
Yeah.
and honestly, if I wasn't making cakes and I was seeking another bake, it would be one of the first things I want to know how much it's going to cost.
Well, that's what I'm always worried about is if, say, my daughter's having a birthday and I want to get a cake made, am I going to be $700 in or $100 in or $200 in, and what's the difference from there? So size would be number one.
No, if it was going to be a $700 cake, this would be like 200 people there.
Is that? Well, this is
well,
what I have no clue how it works.
Yeah.
I get intimidated by it.
So I start my smallest, like the semi-custom at 88 and then the fully custom at 125. But I used to charge like half that. And what I found is I was getting so many inquiries and trying to do so much volume that I was incapable of. I had to kind of find a way to balance it out. And I never expect, even my returning customers, I don't ever expect you to like get every cake from me. I've been very blessed that they'll, you know, a lot of times it's for a special occasion, you know, it's easier, it's cheaper to do a grocery store or even a homemade one. Because a lot of people are really skilled enough, and there's recipes out there on Pinterest where you can make your own. But if for like a special occasion, it means a lot when someone seeks me out. For like a sweet 16 or especially an anniversary, or usually it's like when they want something a little extra special, people seem willing to spend a little bit more. That's nice. But most of mine are between 100 and 200. It just depends.
And that would
on
feed
the exact size.
How many people probably?
I had anywhere from like 20 to 40. I would say.
Wow. How many? Is that this? Like, how many slices are we making out of this?
So I was telling Randy before you came in, you know, like I make that size for my kids' parties, and we just cut them so small. Instead of cutting like pie type slices, you kind of hack all the way down and lay it on its side, and then cut little rectangles.
Cut those,
And it can go a long way, especially if you're having other food or sweets. Or a lot of people don't seem to want. When I was a kid, I could eat like 10 pieces of cake and not blink an eye.
Yeah.
Now myself and everyone else, like, they'll have like 2 bites and they'll be like, it's just so sweet. And it is, if you're not used to having a lot of, it is. But I haven't really found a way around that to make it. I haven't worked with sugar substitutes or a lot. I just kind of know to achieve a certain appearance, you have to use X amount of sugar, and X amount of butter.
Is there a proper way to cut cake?
Well, like this one, what would you do with this if you just had to walk in? I thought I would cut it right across.
I mean, you could.
And then just like grab it and set it to the side and then start cutting it.
Yeah.
No, I think you have to just, like she said, you just whack it straight down. And then maybe, I don't even know. I should have
brought a picture.
Thin.
But
I would go thin.
Yes. Yeah. And if you lay it on its side, like if you have some foil or something on like a cutting board or a cookie sheet, then you can just, and it's all the mess is contained, and then you can just wrap it and throw it out.
Randy would just tip this whole thing on the side, cut it like a log.
No, I think this is what I would do is I would cut it right across, take that over, and then everybody gets like the top part, so they get some of the balls and the icing. And then if you want seconds, then you go to the other.
I should have brought
part.
multiple, so everyone could have like done a blind cutting side to side. This like needs to become a thing.
I like that.
Because it would be really interesting to see how different people, just like, logically in their brain would cut it.
Yeah, I've seen different videos on cutting, and one was like really weird. It was like, oh, is that the right way? And this made me think you always just pie cut.
But you can't. This
you would make
made it
4
impossible
pieces
to pie
on
cut.
a pie cut, but that would be like that because it's deceiving because it's so big this way.
Yeah, a lot of the people seem to really like the tall cakes are kind of or double barrel they call them, because it's basically 4 layers in there. So if you were to cut it like a pie, it gets really hard to do it.
Feels
that
like
way.
you get less. I don't love frosting, so like the less frosting, the better.
You sound like my mom.
Yeah.
They're always like they don't like frosting at all. Like they just
I
like the
scraping
cake part.
all that off.
Yeah.
How many
We'll scrape it all off.
If I eat the whole cake, how many calories do you think it would be?
Well, there's 3 cups of sugar in that. How many cups of sugar is in
Okay,
that?
in the cake, there's sorry, I'm trying to remember I have most of my Yeah, in the cake, there's 1 3/4 cup sugar in the cake part. But then there's a whole bag. There's like a 32-ounce bag of powdered sugar for the
icing.
frosting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, and then there's 2 sticks of butter in the cake, and then 5 sticks of butter
Yikes.
in the frosting.
It's a lot of butter.
That is a lot for the frosting. I'm surprised.
How many sticks of butter
Yeah.
are you going through a week?
So
A
many.
lot.
You need your own cow or
I
goat.
know, right?
Wait, yeah,
We
are
we
you
really
buying-
need chickens. Yeah.
Are you buying butter from Costco?
Yes. Yeah. Again, I probably, if I grew, I would do more like more wholesale delivery
Yeah.
type stuff. But for the volume I'm doing now, but yeah, obviously y'all know everything's gone up. Butter's like double what it used to be. Eggs are kind of like one day they're lower, and then the next day they're like $10 more for the same.
Yeah.
If you want to get your own chickens,
But-
I'll teach you how.
We have so many. It's like that's also a trending thing.
Yeah.
Chickens.
So awesome.
I'm not sure OHOA will allow, so that's the only
Yeah.
issue.
You have
we're
to
up
say this is
against.
America.
I like it.
Tell
That's my
HOA
answer
it's
to everything
America.
is I moved to America for a reason.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, you just can't compete with those eggs. They're beautiful, and like the yolks are just not the same.
And it's good
as a
for your
grocery
kids
store
to
egg.
go outside and get them too and get used to taking care of them.
Yeah. Do you have? So you have chickens?
Yeah.
How
throw
many do
all
you
your
have?
scraps out there. Depends who's asking. It probably
Depends if his
It
HOA
was
is
my
asking.
HOA is
Like 100
asking.
or like 5?
No.
Oh, okay.
11.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I kept thinking they were going to die. Everybody said that
That's what I've heard.
50% of them die, or at least 50%. So I was like, all right, I'll get 12. 6 will die, and then I'll have 6. But only 1 died. So now I have 11.
This must be because of what you're feeding them. Like you're probably feeding them really well. Like if you.
My daughters
the
say
way
that they
you've-
pray for them every night that they don't die.
That's precious.
And they think that that's why. And it's been like 2.5 years.
Chick-fil-A
It
chicks.
could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
The Christian
So your girls
chickens.
help.
They do everything.
Okay.
Yep. Well, we have to. The food bag's too heavy to take out to their little
Okay.
area, but yeah, they get eggs every day. Feed them, clean it.
But they're working out so that they can carry the bag at one point.
They need to. Right. Once you hit
Well,
11,
we've been thinking
you
about
carry it.
this with our kids, just like the ability to take ownership of something
Yeah.
like that. I think would be really, really good for them.
Yeah, it's great. And
Wait,
it's
how old
funny.
are your girls?
They're 8, 7, and 10 now.
Okay.
So they were 5 and 8 when we got them.
Okay.
But they got to see them from when they were just tiny little chicks
Yeah.
in the garage to 2.5 years later.
That's
Full-grown
really cool.
women now.
But, yeah.
Chickens.
That I mean, that
And-
is pretty amazing. I feel like everyone we know, yeah, they do. They have some. They'll be like, we lost one today.
Right.
Zapped.
Yeah.
Snake got him.
One time, yeah, there was a hawk that came down into our backyard one
no.
day. Before we had a dog, we let him out more.
Okay.
And the girls, they were on the other side of our fence, and they saw swoop down, and then they just saw feathers everywhere. Thought it was dead. They're bawling, crying. It was like the smallest chicken too. Like, she's dead. We lost her. So sad. Whole thing. Chickens are all freaking out. They all get back in their coop. So they spend the whole day sad, and then it's just about to be dark, and I look out my window, and there's that chicken comes rolling back from wherever it was right into the coop. Survived.
It's like Lazarus.
And my wife
Yeah.
and my daughter says, "Well, yeah, that's what happens. I prayed
Yeah.
for it."
That's
like, yeah.
amazing. That's really sweet.
Now, how much cake are you consuming? Because you
That's
have a
good.
great figure.
Yeah, you're so
Are
skinny.
you? How are you avoiding just dabbling in cake all day?
Licking your fingertips.
Yeah.
The rest
You
of
gotta
it.
taste it.
I did at first, like that year I started, and like you just feel terrible. I think I probably gained like 10 or 15 pounds. But like, you just don't feel good when you eat a lot of it. Like y'all know that when
Yeah.
you feel like the food you put in your body. So, yeah, well, for one, like I always need. I'm like, I don't like the idea of having to make more frosting, so I always just try to make
a lot,
sure
yeah.
I have. Yeah, that, like same with my kids. If they ask, I'm like, no, and they're pretty much oblivious. I think just because I'm always doing it. But I used to make sweets all the time for us, like cookies and bars. That's kind of how I started, was making stuff like
Right.
that, and we would have it in the house or give it away to work. But now I don't do much for our own family anymore. So we don't like, nothing is off limits in our house, but we really just try to eat a lot of whole foods, lean
Yeah.
proteins, but we also indulge in cookies and sweets once in a while. Like I just haven't wanted to make it fully off limits for them. I've wanted to figure out how can we find moderation and
Right.
balance and enjoy something delicious, but also
it-
feel like we don't need this every day or we don't need 5 of them. Just
Yeah.
trying to learn, which is hard. It's hard for me. It's self-control. Like for me, my weight has been up and down, but I made some changes probably 2 or 3 years ago. And you just feel better. You have more energy and
Yeah.
when you're fueling your body the right way. So I'm always like with the kids, I'm like, okay, you can have a piece of toast or this or that, but like, let's have some yogurt with
Right.
it. Let's have, I could hear like they're going to grow up and be like, my mom was just always like, have a protein with it.
Right.
Cause like, I'm just, how do we stay fuller longer and,
Yeah.
just make sure that we're getting the food that our body truly needs and not filling up on stuff that it
they'll
doesn't
be happy.
need.
They'll be
So,
happy when they're older though, because of that.
yeah, but
you
it's
know?
it's hard because obviously like their friends have stuff everywhere and
Yeah.
there's
Do you have a
there's
lot of
just
left-
a lot out there.
Do you have a lot of leftover cake though? What are you doing with the leftovers?
No, I don't. Well, in the freezer, I always have a freezer stash.
Oh, nice.
So like if I have a leftover slice or something, but I don't know. It doesn't necessarily always appeal. It's just kind of sometimes I forget it's back there until someone asks. If someone asks, like, do you have something?
Yeah.
You have anything in your freezer?
Yeah.
Um,
How long does cake last in a freezer?
a long time.
Really?
Yeah, like
Years.
you. Oh, okay. Well, probably. I mean,
People have their
maybe a
wedding
year.
cake. Yeah, the people have their wedding cake.
Yeah.
At their 1 year
Did you
anniversary.
do
all
that?
the
Did
time.
either of you do that?
I think we did, but I don't even remember it.
I think no. My wife just smashed my wedding cake in my face.
Yeah, I hear
Maybe
like
you
our
should
cake
just
wasn't
redo
great.
that for your birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So you can
can do
at
it.
least a year?
I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. Like if you're gonna wrap a full cake, I normally just recommend like fully wrap it in plastic wrap and then in some sort of sealed container beyond that, so that there's no air getting to it, or
Yeah.
so it's not gonna get frost.
What's the thaw out process? Like you eat it, like just take it out that morning and it's
You could a lot of times. I think whether it's going in the freezer or out of the freezer, it does best to do it gradually. So, say you're taking a room temperature cake, I'd put it in the fridge for a couple hours first, and then freezer, and then kind of vice versa. Otherwise, it'll start sweating like crazy, going from freezer cold to room temperature. And once in a while, what happens, when things freeze and sort of decrease in size, they'll expand and like you'll get random little bubbles. And now this is like a
Yeah.
fully decorated cake. If it's just a slice,
not a big deal.
but yeah, so whenever I give a cake to a customer, I always have it fully refrigerated because with this type of frosting, it needs to stay refrigerated to preserve its appearance. So I always say keep it in your fridge until about 2 hours before you want to serve it. But I always struggle with that because some people prefer cold cake and some people
Right.
like room temperature cake after it's been sitting out.
I
Do
love
you have a
fresh-
preference?
I love fresh warm cake.
Fresh
like,
warm-
right out of the oven.
Oh, okay. Like no frosting.
Yeah.
Just okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could throw a little frosting on it. I think that's
Yeah.
why I like cupcakes. I feel like they're like
Yeah.
just a nice little small portion.
Yeah.
I think I'm the exact opposite.
Cold
like
cake?
borderline frozen.
Oh,
Oh wow.
like, well, I like ice cream cake.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. It's
Those are
almost
nice.
like ice cream cake.
Okay. No, that's true. I did a Instagram video on this a few months back, and a bunch of people said they like to microwave it. Like
Really?
not after it's out of the oven, but like it on the warmer
Just a-
side. And then other people said they like it.
Oh, a nice
Really
warm
cold.
cake. Oh, that's great.
I don't. Well, we've
know.
been pushing our friend to quit using the microwave so much.
Yeah.
And he said,
Yeah.
What? Well, how do I heat things up then? We're like, well,
Every
we
week
started
it's
giving,
something.
always
It
something.
was soup this week.
We're like, I don't
So
know.
did you
could-
do it on the stove?
Well, yeah, well, we told him
Oh.
like crock pot. You could get an air
yeah.
fryer. You could get a toaster oven. You could get a thermos. you
Electric
could-
pan, put it on a stovetop.
But it just never even crossed his mind that there was any option other than
Like
a
to
microwave.
live without a microwave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we don't even have it in our house.
No.
That's awesome. Good for. We didn't when we first moved here. It was one of those things that felt a little weird for the first like couple weeks. Just muscle memory with anything.
Yep.
Just when you're used to it, and then I guess we didn't. I do use a microwave for cakes when I have to heat up.
Butter.
Well, not just like heavy cream for certain things, like for a ganache but not a ton, mainly for that. But it's one of those things you just get used to not having it, and you're like, I can live without this.
I don't know what ganache is either.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
How many cooking shows do you
Dude,
I was
watched,
gonna say you clearly are the foodie.
I watched a lot of Food Network. I watched a lot of a lot of HGTV.
Do you watch the British baking show?
I haven't watched it in a while, but I used to watch who was the King of Cakes or something like that?
Buddy?
Cake Boss.
Buddy
maybe.
Velostro, that guy?
Maybe he's like Italian, bigger kind of guy.
Yeah, I think that's him. Yeah.
I watched all those. I liked all the decorating. I watched a lot of tattoo programs. I had a lot of good consumption there on the creative side to learn.
My husband doesn't like them. I don't know. I try to turn them on and
Like Bravo. You like Bravo television?
we just not a lot of Netflix.
You're on Netflix a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the romance, like the
No. We're like Lincoln. Have you seen Lincoln Lawyer? We like that one.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
that yet.
I love that.
That one was really good.
You've seen Suits.
Oh, I actually haven't.
You
but
haven't?
my husband loves it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I could go back to not having seen it so I could watch it.
Okay,
for
I guess
the
we
first
need
time.
to add it. Yeah. No, and I keep trying to be that person who reads more. Like I have so many books I want to read, but
I love buying
Don't.
books and just setting them on my shelf. Kind of flip through them a little bit.
yeah, I'll get like a couple pages in and then end up falling asleep
Yeah.
every night.
Yep. Nice.
Has there ever been anything inappropriate that someone wanted on a cake?
That you said
You
yes
just said
to.
I have to
That
draw
you
the
said
line.
Yes to.
No,
Said
actually,
yes
no. I'm sorry. I'm not just saying no because I don't want to share. Like I really no,
hasn't been
no.
No
They're
one-
never. They're
like
never
a
have been.
Valentine cake or something.
No, but I've seen a lot of them like on
I've seen-
Instagram, but
yes.
I've never been asked.
I've seen one where it was like literally like a baby being birthed. Like it was the head coming out, and that was the cake.
No, I don't think anyone's ever asked me anything like remotely.
So the cake was like
Eccentric.
2 legs, and then
Yes.
part of the cake
And
was the
like-
baby's head coming out.
Yes. So like the head was edible. Like they sliced through it.
How much would
But
that
it was
cost?
like crotch. I mean, you could see everything. You
lot.
could see crotch. It was the
Oh
whole.
my
It was
gosh.
gross. And they had like this.
It was
oozy-
very lifelike.
Yes, they had like
Yeah.
a jello-y, bloody like kind of thing that like when you cut into it, so it like.
Oh, yeah, I've
there's a
seen that.
placenta
Oh,
inside.
I mean, that was the thing.
seen
There's
that.
no way I would even come close to eating that.
I don't know. I probably would just be like, I'm really sorry, but this is outside of my skill set.
Yeah.
I might refer you to someone else.
Yeah, Randy's gonna ask for something crazy.
Well, yeah. What would be something that's really romantic in your mind? Like not, and I'm thinking not something that they'd ever expect, but something that's just over the top. Valentine's Day,
like
or maybe anniversary. I've got a 15-year anniversary coming up.
I just think I just think like lots and lots of flowers on
Like
it. Does she like
roses.
flowers? Some people don't like flowers. I did have someone say, what was it? They ordered one for their wife, but was very clear that she doesn't like red roses. So, and I'm forgetting the flower that it was.
It's probably like an ex-boyfriend thing.
yeah,
Maybe
gotta be
it might
trauma.
be. But I think flowers are just you can't really go wrong with flowers on
No.
a cake. Because
Or
you
like
can
her
you
favorite
any
book.
color scheme. Oh, or are you wanting something like very like themed?
You could do her favorite
not
book.
just like generic.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm thinking like, people will come and be like, wow, no one has ever done anything like this that I've seen before.
So thoughtful.
Gosh.
Could you put
I
a
don't
book
know, I'm
cover on
feeling
there?
stressed.
Yeah, a book cover would be cool.
Like you do the printed thing where it'd be like
Yeah.
printer to something.
Yes. Sorry, I can't. So I laugh every time I think of this because we teach Sunday school at our church and we ran out of printer paper for it once. And my husband told me, he's like, you should just print it on the edible paper. And as we go throughout the lesson and you do the lines, just start eating it after. And I was like,
That would be hilarious.
anyways, every time someone brings up the printer paper, that's all I can think about. But yes, I do. I have one of those. And it's
Sweet.
been really helpful for just certain images that I don't feel like I can do with buttercream. Because you can do this thing called a buttercream transfer where you basically print the image and then you could do parchment or wax paper. You basically do the image in reverse. you pipe onto the picture, kind of matching all the coloring and the lines.
Yeah.
And then you flip it onto the cake and freeze it, and then you peel it off. And the idea is that
Transfers?
say like Snoopy or just like a recognizable character, is that it releases that way as an alternative to
But
the
wouldn't
edible.
is that regular ink though that would be transferring to the
No,
cake?
it's an edible. It's a special edible
Oh.
ink that you buy for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So do people get a cake of their cat made? Anything weird?
Oh, for sure, like a cat photo.
Or their cat's
I don't know, but
birthday,
I
maybe?
like, there's a lot of things like this. I'm like, I wish someone would ask me to make that.
Oh,
because
we're gonna
that's
get
really
to
cool.
Yeah, like our faces on it. Like
Yeah.
we're
Oh,
gonna
totally.
celebrate.
Why didn't I should have done that for this. Your
would-
faces.
yes.
Yeah. I was gonna. If anything, I was gonna say baby faces, like where they do
Right.
like the baby's face
Yeah.
on it. That I like that idea.
There could be a lot of fun things that you could do, honestly.
Oh, let me
Yes.
get in the lab with you one of these days. We'll come up with some great stuff.
Anytime. It's not that. It's probably not very exciting.
I'll just
won't
knock
necessarily
on
be
your
very
door.
exciting,
I'll
but
just knock on your door one of these days.
Well, I think there's a lot of
just give me the 5 minutes. 5 minute warning, please.
there's niche areas where I think people would use more cakes if they knew what to ask for.
Agreed. I think that's sometimes where I have to like suggest, because you see what's out there trending. So like the heart cakes are really big.
Yeah.
That say like a teeny TINI, a bit older, like with the martini,
Yeah.
the olive.
Oh, that's
but the
good.
heart cakes are really trendy, where it's in the shape of a heart. I don't know. I do a lot of like the drip cakes where it's you have the drip
Kind
around
of like
it.
drips down the edge.
Gender reveal parties.
But yeah, the edible images can always be.
Yeah.
Any photo you have on your.
Do you do flat, like a lot of flat top cakes, like long
Like
and
sheet
wide?
cakes?
Yeah, like a sheet cake. That's probably what they're called.
No, that's fine. I don't do a ton of them, but those are actually coming around. I'll have to show you a couple, like coming around where they make these massive centerpiece sheet cakes, like that could go from, well, maybe not quite wall to wall, but for a wedding, instead of
Like
your
the whole
traditional.
thing. That would be awesome.
They're really cool. They're really neat because it's just something different, I think, than people are used to seeing. Instead of your like 3 or 4 tiers, this really long cake.
Like 10 foot long by like 3 foot.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or maybe not 3
They're just
foot,
really,
like
but pretty, I mean,
foot and a
probably
half,
at least
2
that
feet.
wide. Yeah. So that definitely would take some more engineer. I've only made probably a small one, but no, I don't feel like people ask about sheet cakes a ton, because you can, I don't know,
That'd
that
be
you can get at
memorable,
Publix.
Like people are
But-
going to remember that long cake.
Oh yeah.
10-foot
For
cake.
sure.
And it's probably it's not that much more baking, right?
No, it's just cutting and sizing it right, and then really there it's just your having a sturdy base, like you're gonna need maybe not a piece of
right.
plywood, but
Yeah, probably.
finding the right
Something.
thing to get it, because a lot of times I think I've seen they transport it to the venue in multiple pieces, and then when they get there they sort of connect the seams, so they can't be visible.
Nice.
But those are really neat.
So, so I'm thinking of a cake like the size of this table,
Yeah.
but like 5 feet tall.
No.
I don't know if that's structurally possible. If it wasn't
You'd have to
just so much weight, when you get up here, all that.
Too much weight.
it'd have to be
don't
balanced so
know.
perfectly.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking, because it would be cool.
It would be cool.
You'd have to have those
don't
little
know.
sticks in it.
A lot of sticks,
A lot of sticks.
which would be dowels
Yes.
that we learned earlier.
Yeah. It probably could be done.
Just no real purpose.
That would just be so much cake. Like,
Be
what
like
would you possibly?
10,000 people.
Yes.
I don't know.
Have you seen
that's
those? I think online there's like this thing like who paid the most for their wedding cake. Like I think Beyonce paid like over $100,000
For a cake?
and then I don't know, $100,000.
Yeah, that's
There were some more on there that were higher, that were like substantially higher
So
than that.
much.
I think they had like real diamonds on it or
right.
something.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Are you eating those, or are you just putting them in
Yeah,
your
I don't
pocket?
think you're eating a diamond.
I don't think so either.
Put it in
Breaking
my
your
pocket.
I think it's
tooth
just
on it.
I think it's just for the picture, you
Yeah.
know, just
Yeah.
to say like my cake was this much money.
Who's the biggest wedding cake maker in our area?
I would say Bonnie Brunt. She's amazing. Bonnie Brunt.
Bonnie Brunt.
Yeah. I mean, she does like 5. She has a good sized team. So, but I mean, just incredible. Like 5-tier cakes.
Is her business Bonnie Brunt Cake?
Mm-hmm.
Like bun
I think
cake?
no. I don't know.
Would you want to
Please don't quote me on any of this.
Would you want to step into and like get into her space a little bit? I know you said you haven't got into
Um,
wedding stuff yet.
I haven't. I've enjoyed meeting a couple other bakers locally who have just sat down, with coffee and kind of picked their brains about stuff. I'm sure I could learn a lot. I've never had any professional training really, so I'm sure there's so much out there I could learn. Like I actually don't know how to pipe icing flowers, like the ones you see on the cakes, and like I don't know how, and I really feel like I think I could do it with some time and training. And I tell people that even like who are just beginning bakers, I think with time and training and the right tools, there's a lot you could make a decent cake from home yourself. So I started doing some cake classes up at a small studio up in Little Mountain, where we have like 10 ladies in and we decorate a cake together. And it's just been really fun. And I think I've almost learned from them, kind of seeing them do the process from start to finish. And there's so much I could learn. Again, I feel like I've kind of settled into I just do what I'm comfortable with. But I mean, she's incredible. The cakes she makes are just, I've never tried some of those techniques and I kind of get intimidated by them. So I've started to try to say yes to more things like, okay, I've never done this, but I'm going to do my research. I'm going to try to practice a little bit and learn that. So I don't know. I don't think with anything in life you really can get better or start new things like unless you force yourself to do that. So that's kind of on my to-do list with something I haven't done yet would be to learn some new skills like that. But yes, I should reach out to her and ask if I could come shadow her sometime.
That'd be cool. What do you hate making? Like when somebody requests
carrot cake.
Carrot?
I was hoping you'd ask this question because I'm going to be prepared. Carrot cake.
Oh.
No, I mean, I like carrot cake.
You like eating it.
But it's
not
just like
making it.
literally it's just so much shredding.
Really?
So much shredding.
Why don't you use a food processor?
Because it doesn't do it as finely. Like it just doesn't get them as fine. And then it's a little more chunky than you would want. And then it like turns your hand orange by the end.
Yeah.
I love carrots. And I do like carrot cake.
Do you like the making more or the decorating more? Of the
I like
cake
the decorating.
Process? Really?
Like if I could just have someone bake everything and crumb coat, which is like you assemble it and you kind of do a rough coat.
Yeah.
And before you do all the exterior
like the fine
stuff.
tuning.
Yes, I would love if like I could just show up and everything was done and all I had to do was just decorate the outside. That would be.
And then do you like baking anything else nowadays? Like pies, muffins, what else do you bake?
Muffins
I do a lot of
sounds
cookies.
So good right now.
Cookies, muffins. I can't say
croissants.
pies. My mom.
Banana bread.
Oh yeah, banana bread. I've got a great banana bread recipe.
Really? You throw
It has
chocolate
refined
chips
sugar,
in it?
but you probably could sub like coconut sugar. Yeah, I would say mostly cookies, quick breads, muffins.
Casseroles? Not a big casserole maker?
Not really, no.
Okay.
But what were you asking before that?
What
You had
is
said
there anything else
pie. You had said pies. Yeah, I've actually never made a good pie crust. My mom makes a really good one, but that's to get a really good flaky one. That's like again a really different skill, and so is yeast. Like these people who can make these really beautiful rolls.
Like sourdough. Are you doing sourdough bread?
I'm not.
You're not in the sourdough game?
I'm not.
You're
but
not that era
I know
of
a
life.
couple girls, and
It's a phase.
I mean, it's so good. I did try at one point, and then my patience wasn't
it's a lot
built
of
to
time.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a little disappointed in myself, but
Yeah, I feel like every woman hits it at some point in their life where you just start making sourdough.
yeah, I like Wake and Break. Have you heard of her, Alex from Wake and? She's in Lexington, but anyways,
She makes bread?
yeah, she does.
Does she
a ton
go
of
to Soda
business.
City Market?
I don't think she does. I think that's a different one,
Okay.
different girl. But yeah, no, I haven't. Again, I'm just kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
My wife's been making sourdough weekly.
Since the 80s.
Oh,
Yeah, she always grows it.
that's amazing.
It's so weird that it just grows on its own. You just
I
feed
think
it.
I
She's
wasn't
like, I'm
doing some
feeding
things.
my sourdough.
Yeah, I think I wasn't doing some things right.
But it's great.
That's
it's
amazing.
delicious.
So does she bake bake one pretty much every day?
Well, I tell her that I don't want her to.
Yeah.
I asked her, it's funny, we were talking yesterday, and I said, I just want you to bake one on Sunday, and then we can have like a piece for dinner. She can put it in the girls' lunches for Monday, Tuesday, and then it's gone by Thursday, Friday. Because the worst thing in the world is having bread around in your house Friday, Saturday, because you just want to mow down.
Eat it all. Yeah. I think I ate the whole, like every time I get one from her, I can't get my husband to eat more of it. And yeah, it's just like it sits there on the counter, like staring you down, just waiting.
That's how I feel.
Just have a little
calling to me.
Does she do like different like, I don't know, with like raisins, any like sweet or savory or like cinnamon, or mostly just plain regular?
She never has. She just,
yeah.
I think it's just because when she just makes it normal, it just gets devoured immediately.
Do you ever put anything on it, or do you like prefer it just plain?
She makes ghee.
Yep.
You know, and so she'll put ghee on that. But when it's warm, you can just eat it without anything on it.
fresh.
That sounds really
So good.
I'm getting hungry.
I am too.
Have you ever? How often are you dropping a cake or like just throwing one out?
Like just
something-
losing your mind,
Yeah.
smashing it on the ground.
I mean, very rarely, but I will say it's funny. Like, you'd think the longer you do something, you get better at it, but sometimes you get in those ruts. Like, it's happened more recently where I'm like, I've had to go over a cake like 3 times or scrape it. Or I've done a filled one where you fill it with like a salted caramel sauce, and so it's very oozy. So if the cake is not, a lot of times I'll assemble that one while the cake layers are fully frozen. Like, I'll bake them, I'll freeze them overnight, because it just really helps that set and get it some stability. Well, once in a while, like if I don't do a dome just right, it'll like explode and there's caramel like oozing out the sides, and it's yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. So I can't say I've thrown out a cake. I feel like almost any time things are salvageable, it just, you lose time in the process having to redo it.
Tell me you're using timers.
Timers?
Yeah, tell me you're using timers, Brianna.
Like what? What do you mean timers?
Like you throw it in the oven, you set a little timer.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not just winging it, like kind of thinking, oh, know when to open the oven.
No, I mean like most cakes are going to take about 30 minutes.
So you set a timer,
So
kind of move on with your life,
yeah, I set it for like 25, and then I usually go
Check
back
it.
and check.
kind of work it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart. Do you use toothpicks or how do you test? See if it's done.
I usually can just tell. I'll like
Eyeball.
tap it or gently.
Tap?
Well, because you can tell
Top
if there's
tap?
still, you can tell if it's still raw
Okay.
in there.
I didn't know that. I always thought you had to poke it. Get in the
I
inside.
think you can.
Right.
I mean, that is definitely
no
one way.
idea.
Sometimes my wife will be like, yeah, go check if it's okay. And I like poke it in there and pretend I have no clue what I'm looking for. And
With
I'll
the
say-
sourdough?
With anything.
Oh, with anything,
Anything that
yeah.
she says, can
You
you go
just
check
poke
if
it.
it's ready? I go there. I either poke it or pretend to poke it, and then say it should be ready in 2 minutes. And then I leave, so then she has to go look at it.
So you lie.
Yeah, no idea.
Well, she know. Like every time she asks me, it's like, I don't know what I'm looking for.
You got to see if it's wet. Let me tell you.
All right,
It's like jiggling
I
still.
put a toothpick in. It comes out
If it comes out clean and dry, it means it's done.
ready.
Yep.
What if it comes
it's
out a
wet,
tiny bit wet?
then it's still
I mean, like if it's
doughy.
soaking
Cook.
wet. All right. So what if it's a little bit?
probably need 2 minutes.
So yeah, because they do say that you're like with cakes that they'll continue baking for a couple minutes once out of
After?
the oven. So
Yeah.
it can be a little tricky to tell.
Yep.
So does your wife bake anything else? Like, does she bake a lot of other things, or is sourdough kind of her?
No, she does a lot. She tries all kinds of weird stuff. She makes her own almond milk.
That's
She
amazing. See,
makes
I want to be more
kombucha.
like
She
really
makes
like.
lotions.
She makes her own, soap and lotions, all
That's
kinds of stuff.
it's really incredible.
But
Like
it's
I
good.
have this dream of wanting to be more like that. Sometimes it just feels like a lot to chew off. Like, did she just start with one thing, or has she always or just incrementally kind of moved from?
I mean, I feel like she just spends time in a kind of a crunchy community sometimes. Or she'll just go to someone's house and they'll be like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing sourdough. She's like, oh, how do you do that? And they're like, oh, you just add this every once in a while. She's like, oh, I can do that. And then she just goes home and adds it, and then it just becomes easy. Or they're like, I make my own almond milk. She's like, oh, how do you do that? And they're like, you just milk your almonds.
That's
She's
really
like, okay. What do? You just put it in a bag and you let it sit there.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, when it comes to like recipe testing and development, like I've really been wanting to try a little bit more to do, like find some ways to bake like paleo and with substitutes, but I just haven't taken the time to, because I know there's a little bit of different science behind it, but I do follow a lot of girls who do more like a gluten and dairy free, not necessarily like fully, they're still using
Like honey or
refined
something.
sugar. Yeah.
That's what, my wife did a whole cookbook on that. And when she was trying it, we had to throw away so many things because it's hard to cook with different types of, like instead of using normal flour, if you use the ancient grains, or instead of sugar, if you use stevia or honey, it's a totally different world.
Yeah.
I've heard. Now,
Yeah.
do I cook it? No, but I will say if it tastes good or not.
Yeah. I mean, I've done cookies and quick breads like with like almond butter
Spelt
or
flour.
or almond flour, and it's definitely the ratio of what you need to liquid is very different than regular like enriched white flour.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
So you have 30,000 some followers on Instagram. How'd you do that? How did you grow that? What was your strategy?
I didn't. I just got honestly like I just
massive.
got really lucky. I
Really?
think because I've kind of been stagnant there for probably a year now. Like you go in phases with it where I felt that pressure to like.
But
be
you're
on
doing
here
it all
every
yourself,
day.
right? You're doing it all yourself.
Yeah, but I think I just got lucky with a few reels. Like I guess what's more important to me is I really enjoy my local following and getting to know people locally and interacting with them. So I've never really actually looked at the breakdown, but
Do you do any formal marketing, or is it all like word of mouth? Is it just social media? What kind of?
yeah, mostly just social media, Instagram, Facebook, and then word of mouth. I was telling Randy, I think before you came in, that's really how I started, was just through an Instagram page, and then putting it out through there. And then you have people at this party, and their friends of friends refer you, and the church we go to is rather large, so a lot of friends there. I always joke, I'm like, if we didn't go here, or I'm like, our church is keeping me in business. So it's nice. It's just really nice to be a part of people's special occasions. Most of the time they're joyful occasions that are being celebrated, and it's really neat to be a part of those. And what were you saying? What
How
did
you grew,
ask?
just if you did
How
formal
I
marketing.
grew,
or anything,
yeah. So I don't, because it's free, Instagram has definitely been a great way to
good.
do that. But it's changed. This is like the first time I'm like, wow, I'm feeling really old. Like I'm not in the, like it changed a lot earlier this year. And I'm like, I can't keep up. So I go back and forth with like, I want to be on there, and I want to be active, and I want to be engaged. But at the end of the day, how much or little I'm on there doesn't define my skills or how I am as a person. And so trying to balance that with being in the kitchen, that's honestly one of the things I've struggled the most with, because I feel like I get to this point where I care too much, and I'm like, okay, I care too much, and I just need to not care anymore. And then I just kind of go off for a while and take a break, which I do think is good mentally. I just think there's so much out there, and even if it's good stuff, you can only be on social media so long at once before it does just start to affect you. So even though
at our age, kids these days seem like they can be on there for quote unquote kids can be on there for 12 hours a day and they don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I think that's changing. I think now everybody's realizing what you're saying. You can't be on there all day long without it affecting your mental health.
Yeah. And it's not reality, like even I'm not like last week, my kid, they were all sick, and we were all just a mess for a week. Like I'm not posting that stuff, like, and so I have to remind that or myself of that too, when I see things other people post. It's easy to just second guess yourself and feel like, because there's always going to be someone out there doing it better, Like you could look at my stuff and say, oh, it's so lovely. But I go on there, and I see like all these people who I think are doing it better than me. And so I've had to learn, like, at the end of the day, it's just cake. It's only so important. It's something I feel like the Lord put in my life at a time when I was really, really struggling, and it ended up being a creative outlet and a very healing thing for me to just be able to use my hands and create pretty things that could, and I guess could lead me to other people. And it has been really neat. That's been one of my favorite parts, is just meeting people in the community and getting to make new friends. It's like seeing an old friend, like especially when you have those people who've ordered multiple times. It's like, oh, it's so nice to see you.
Hey, Betty.
Yeah, and you have those catch-ups and how are the kids? And I think working like alone in my space, it's just nice to have that social aspect as well.
Yeah.
So.
What kind of workout routine are you pumping these days? Because I see you went shirtless to show the pythons off.
Oh,
So are you doing any?
I was actually worried I was going to be.
Or sleeveless. Not
I was
shirtless.
so nervous.
For the audience, not.
I was worried I was going to be sweaty, and I like. Is it warm in here, or is it just me?
It gets hot in here. Yep.
Like I'm actually very cold natured, but I was so nervous that I thought I might have sweaty pits.
Yeah. So you went sleeveless.
Well, I used to be an avid runner. Like I've done one marathon and 1.5 marathon back a long time ago, and have always loved cardio. Like, again, just for like the endorphins, I always feel better. I always feel less stressed. I grew up like in Maine, hiking, biking. We were always active. But I get really like moody and irritable if I can't get outside and move my body.
So you do like outdoor runs and walks and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I lift weights a good bit. That's something I started a couple of years ago, and that's been a huge. I've just really felt
nice.
I felt stronger, and I feel like I'm on my feet all day in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And there are times I still get tired. Like I get tired. I can't sit down because I'm like, if I sit down, I won't. So I feel like I have good endurance to keep up with a busy lifestyle, and I feel energized by exercising. And we're trying to teach that to our kids. We don't hike or bike a ton now that we live here, but just getting outside and being in the sunshine. You just, you see a lot of people around you going through really tough health stuff, and I think that's one thing. When I do have anxiety in my life, a lot of it's health related. Like I want to. Yeah. I know sometimes we can only do so much, but I want to be around in 30 years to be able to like hike a mountain when I'm 70 and to be able to run around and do the same things I do today. And so I feel like every day that I get to wake up and run and walk and move and breathe is just such a gift, because there are a lot of people who they don't necessarily have that quality of life and aren't so fortunate. So
you go anywhere local, like a gym, or just at home?
Yeah, I'm at Move Fit. Well, it's not Move Fitness anymore. One Life now. Yeah. And my husband is Orange Theory, which he loves. Mm-hmm. And I actually do like that, but the class times don't work out as well. But but he'll get up at 4:45 to do that.
Oh wow. He's hardcore. Yeah. That's at
5
a.m.
Are
you early risers?
I'm not. No.
You're not. Okay.
I try to sometimes, and then I'm not that guy.
But I do like that Orange Theory has the weight training side of it now.
Yeah.
But the 5 a.m. class, they're always hardcore. I've been a few.
Yes.
If I wake up and can't fall back asleep, sometimes I'll go to a 5 a.m. Orange Theory class.
Where's the closest one over here?
There's one just right down the road.
Oh, there. Oh, okay.
Off 2 Notch.
Okay.
But it's just a bunch of hardcore people. I like the 10:30, 11 crew. I like to get up.
Moms that just drop their kids off.
I'm more in the mom group.
Yeah. If we went to the sim gym, I'd see you every day, because that's pretty much I might drop my daughter off at 9 and then try to go for like an hour and then come right home and start into my cake stuff. But I'm sure you meet a lot of people. Do you actually? So my thing lately is I've been there for almost 10 years. I feel like I know every other person, and I want to be nice and have a conversation, but I'm also like I can't afford to be here for 3 hours today.
Yeah.
Or do you do headphones? See, I don't do headphones.
No, I never do headphones. I think headphones are weird when you're working out.
Okay.
I like silence.
Okay, that's what I do.
But I would say I'm usually the person like talking to people a little bit too much.
And flexing in the mirror. The guy that walks around, doesn't really do much, but talks to you and flexes. That's his routine.
Yeah, that's good. Pretty much it.
That's his regimen.
If I've had like 2 or 3 like kind of like heart to heart, 10, 15 minutes. I'm kind of just like the next person I see, I'm just going to pretend I don't see
You got
them.
it. Yeah.
Like, is that bad?
No, that's what
Okay.
you got to
No,
do.
you got to get your sets in though. Still,
Yeah.
like you go do some heavy bench, then
Yep.
you got to take a little rest. Then you can like wave, say hi. Good
I do
to
10
see
pounds
you.
on each side.
When you
Oh,
bench.
nice.
What? That's my heavy bench. What?
Oh, curls? No, that's great. How about what's your favorite flavor to eat, cake wise? Like, what do you if you're making a cake for yourself?
Gotta be vanilla.
No,
You both say vanilla?
no. I think I think you like.
Oh, you're
Red velvet. I maybe guess red velvet.
No, I'm going. Not you like carrot, but I don't think that's what you're going to make for yourself. You're
What if
going to
I'm
be
making
a
myself?
chocolate peanut butter flavor.
That sounds delicious.
Did I give you? I think I gave you a hint earlier.
No.
'Cause
When did you give me a hint?
I don't think you got a hint.
No, that's just me tapping inside your brain.
Okay. Yes, I have this chocolate peanut butter marble cake. So you take like chocolate batter and peanut butter
Classic.
batter, and then you marble it,
That sounds
and
dynamite.
then you add. So then you do a ganache, which is like, so when we were talking about the ganache, it's basically like
a luscious chocolatey.
chocolate, and then you pour heavy cream over it, and it basically melts into like a
Oh,
liquid
Ganache.
oozy
Yeah.
chocolate. Yeah, but then it will
Almost like a syrup.
firm up and solidify like once you refrigerate it. So
Yeah.
anyways,
That
you do
sounds
that
dynamite.
and peanut butter frosting. That was always my dad's favorite growing up. So it's like one of those family ones. I think it just brings back
he was right.
memories.
I mean, is it Randy? It's getting weird for you. How often?
I think you
Where
take.
where would I pull this from? I'm
I don't
sitting
know.
in the
I
energy.
think he's.
I pick up on the energy.
I think you. When I said, she said earlier, or when I said vanilla, then you said you read her
tested a
face.
few-
That's
I
wrong.
te-
Then I said red velvet. Then then you
I
said.
tested a few
I
things.
don't think you said one of
I
the other
narrowed it
ones.
down.
I don't
But
think
to
that
pull
she would
peanut
be doing
butter,
that.
I mean, come on.
Well,
She didn't
I
mention
struggle
peanut
with
butter.
like decisions, like when we go out to eat. I'm like, I want like one taste of everything, and so
Yeah.
that was sort of why I started these, because I felt like
Oh,
it
yeah.
offered a little bit of
We got to talk about
something
these.
for everyone.
So this is a
But-
cake
Yeah, let's
box.
pull a couple of these out.
Yeah, pull that up. This is nice. Where do you get the box made? Because that's a really nice box. Number one.
Thanks.
Number
So I customized the box. I made the box and ordered it
Where
because
like an online.
like a
box
yeah,
company.
just an
Okay.
online because they weren't, because the ones that I was buying just weren't quite sturdy enough.
Yeah.
That's the peanut butter. That's the peanut butter.
So what we're looking
Peanut
at,
butter
you call
chip.
this a cake box, and you do these.
I call
how
it a
often?
cake flight. But,
Cake flight?
Yeah, so I did one in October that was mostly like pumpkin. It was very like pumpkin. Do you
Fall
like
theme.
pumpkin?
I'm not a
People are
pumpkin
also
guy.
like,
No, I like
love it or
pumpkin
hate
pie,
it.
but I don't like anything else pumpkin.
Okay.
Is this how many people would be appropriate to eat this? Do you think?
It could be 4, could be 1, could be 2.
I normally say
One
2 to
person's
be
inappropriate.
generous, but you could easily feed 4.
Yeah.
So I normally say that feeds like about 15 people because there's seven in there. But
You got
Anyways.
a caramel macchiato.
so that's like a coffee. My like biggest weakness is like an iced coffee. I love a cold brew, like
Yeah.
with like real half and half and the bad stuff in it. But
This is awesome though. So you get a cake flight, and it's all these different flavors that now. And do you get to customize that, or you just make up the box for the month?
so I've just been making it up for the month. Like I
Sweet.
pick the whatever flavors that I want to make, and a lot of times, depending on the time of year, if I am having a wedding or two, I'll try to make the flavors so that the bride can have a few of the
Yeah.
ones.
How did you cut them in perfect rectangles like that? Like that doesn't seem like would that come from a cake like this?
No, so you bake
You
in
do it
a
different?
in a 15 by 20 pan, and then
Square- or like a rectangle?
rectangle.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I basically cut it in 4 so that you have a 5 by 15 piece. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 15 pieces.
Gotcha.
Then you fill and stack, and then so you fill it and stack it, and then I've actually learned like you tip it on the side. I'm gonna move from the mic for a second. Maybe. All right.
She was stretching.
All right. So if this So this is how it is.
Vertical.
I got to do this. Yeah. And then I tip it over sideways. And if you cut like this, then it helps it so the frosting doesn't like drag over the layers. Because now you're cutting it this way.
Yeah.
And then you'd get basically two of these big hunks from that.
How about that?
This is awesome.
So people, how much would a flight cost? The monthly flight, and are they limited? Like first come.
They
first
are.
served
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing?
do these for $60, and I normally for $60, and then I
that's
normally so with those cakes, I know I can get 16 slices from each cake that size.
Yeah.
So normally I'll just do 16 of them, unless there was like such.
It feels great for like all little office gatherings, just to have a nice little treat in your back room.
Red velvet Oreo. This is new.
Yeah.
You made this up?
I think maybe I had seen like a red velvet Oreo cookie on Pinterest.
Interesting. Never heard
But
of
yeah, a little something different.
My wife said she hates making red velvet because she said something about you have to use a lot of dye, and it's like if you, this is balance of like taste and dye, and it could taste real synthetic.
Yeah, I agree. It says a lot of those recipes say you need like 9 tablespoons, which is ridiculous.
Of
I normally
dye?
use
Oh God.
I
would
normally
want
use like
0.
1 or 2. So to get it if you want it that color.
Can you have a velvet cake no red? Like just no food coloring, the rest is the same? Or is that just a vanilla cake?
No.
What makes it special?
What makes it special is like vinegar. So you add a little bit of vinegar to your baking soda, and then you kind of stir it so it's like this little chemical reaction, and then you fold that into your batter. So usually it's just the vinegar that does it, because if you Pinterest, there's like pink velvet, blue velvet.
Yeah,
like,
why isn't there no color velvet cake?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I would say it would taste very similar to,
You
to
do
vanilla,
do the
but
vinegar.
you also have cocoa powder, a little bit of cocoa powder. So it's like 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Help give it that like.
I think you got to make the
taste.
quote unquote red no color.
No
cake,
color.
no food dye. Bingo, bango, bongo. Top
I'm
seller.
curious what color it would be, but I'm gonna add it to my list to try.
You could brand it as the not red velvet cake.
Yeah,
Yep, but-
that's really good.
That's what we do.
That's really good.
We just get us in the lab. We're gonna come up with some great stuff, and that's gonna be
please
healthy.
Send it. Yeah, please send it my way anytime.
Yep.
I feel like Valentine's Day cakes are going to be big too for us.
Yep. February.
We're
That's
going to come up with some good branding
Okay.
for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
different shapes. Got some ideas. What's your most favorite cake you've ever like designed? Do you remember what is it?
That's a good question.
So there's this magazine called Cake Masters magazine. It's a UK publication. But anyways, they asked me if I'd be interested in submitting something, and this was about 2 years ago. And you have to submit a 20-step tutorial for it with pictures, high-res pictures showing each step. And so the theme was retro, so you could pick 50s, 60s, or 70s. So I did this like retro sock hop type cake that I designed, and then I got to have it in the magazine, and now I have the magazine.
That's
It was just really cool. I was a little bit intimidated by the process. But then at the end of it, I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Right.
But it's a lovely publication, and just really like some really impressive cakes that they feature in there. So I had a lot of fun making and designing that one. That's probably one of my all-time favorites. I used like a black, white, pink, and teal type color scheme, like 50s diner theme. So I love to take a theme and do it without it looking tacky.
Yeah.
Like you just see a lot, like they take a theme, it looks tacky. So I love the challenge of like, how can we make this theme look classy and someone still be able to look at it and say like, you didn't have all these like random plastic things on it, but I can tell what this is supposed to represent.
Sure. Have you done any competitions or won any competitions? Like I know you mentioned something about entering the decoration.
I did win one at the state fair that was for decorated cakes a couple years back. I think that would be the only thing I've entered.
Okay, nice.
It would be cool to go on one of those cooking shows.
Yeah.
One day.
Food
I have
Network.
come out of my like I used to be just so shy, and I think when we moved here, just little by little, you move to a new place and kind of learn
Fresh
you
start.
don't get to know people. Like you kind of have to put yourself out there, and so the older I get, I figure like even this, like you gotta push yourself
Yes.
out of your comfort zone if you want opportunities and if you want to just grow. And I think a lot of times you just surprise yourself.
Yeah.
When you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad. I could do it again. Or it gives you confidence to go out and do something else. So
Was there any thought when you saw those butthole clips that you were like concerned about the show or like not coming on? Like were you like,
no,
like,
y'all
good
are just
about
always
it?
so like engaging and and funny. I wasn't really sure what to expect you to ask. I was thinking, sure, like you had said, like surely talking about cake, there's no possible way that we could get there.
You
but
see how it gets close. You know what I mean?
It
Like that's what
does.
happens with a lot of our conversations. It's like, wait, how did we end up even near this topic? But it does.
I don't know.
You just got to let it flow.
But I was reading the one about this. Yeah, we're just like you talking about the sunlight aspect, and I had been like on my high horse about that last week with my kids being sick. I was like, we need some sun. The sun is natural medicine.
Yes, we
And
love the sun.
so
We do.
I'm
love
sure
the
it
sun.
has benefits in that area as well.
Yes, that's been a featured reel for a long time. All right.
So how do people reach out to you? How do you
What's
want
the best
people
way?
to support you?
Yeah, thanks. So, thank you all so much for this opportunity. My website is cakesbybrianna.com. So that's where you're able to find just a lot of basic information that you might need if you're interested in ordering a cake or want to see kind of what style of cakes I'm able to offer. And then my Instagram is at Cakes by Brianna, and that's sort of where I interject a little more like just behind the scenes, decorating videos, fun ideas, some personal life stuff. Again, whether you order cake or not, hopefully if you want to hop on there, you can learn something new or just watch a relaxing piping video. I get a lot of moms say, oh, my daughter loves to watch your videos. And I really do like try to keep everything on there very just like clean and just something fun for them to watch, because it's sometimes hard to find that like mainstream for kids
100%.
and just make sure what they're watching. And so I just hope to set that example, and I really enjoy that aspect, the social media aspect. So either way there, or I'm pretty responsive to DMs through Instagram. So
Awesome.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you
Thank
for being
you.
on the
Thanks
show.
for coming on.
thank you so much for having me.
We're here for the health of it.
For the health of it.